What's up, everyone? My name is George, and this is SaaS Master. I'm here with Abhishek from Mutant Email and Sam, which is a really good friend that's going to help us out on this video. How are you doing, Abhishek?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm great. I'm great. How about you, Sam?
Good, George. How are you? This is the first time we are doing it live streaming with the founder. I believe it's the first time, so I'm very excited and looking forward for this whole
Walkthrough.
founder event. So it'll be exciting.
What
Yeah.
is Mutant Mail? How does it help
Well,
us out? Why do we need it?
well, actually, the concept is very simple. The You get email forwardings from a lot of domain registrars, right? Or you can use any kind of forwarding service, even from your web hosting. The reason we use forwarding is because nobody wants to maintain a lot of email IDs, but we do create a lot of email IDs on each of the domain. For example, you always have webmaster, admin, info, support, legal. Can be a number of email IDs that you always create. Now, the problem is if you are let's say you don't have a dedicated email team, how do you manage those email IDs? So let's say you have 5 email IDs on a single domain, and then you have 10 websites running. That is fairly common. 10 websites is not a big deal. So you are looking at what, 50 email IDs to maintain? How do you humanly reply to all of those email IDs on a daily
Exactly.
basis? It's just not possible. That is the whole reason you use email forwarding in the first place. Now, the problem with email forwarding is you cannot reply on that. Suppose since my company is present.com, I want to reply to a mail which was sent to a legal team for present. So the way with forwarding I will do is I get a forwarded mail, let's say to my Gmail, and then again I will go back, remember my login credentials for legal@present.com, and then I will search that mail and then I respond on it. That is the only flow you can do with email forwarding. I cannot reply from my Gmail saying that, hey, this is the response I want to write. Just not possible. That doesn't give you the business appearance. So what Mutant Mail does is it changes the signature, the two column in such a way that for you it appears that the email has come from whoever sent it. But when you send it, the Mutant Mail is going to sit as a gateway in between, and the response is going to go through your own domain. So the destination email or the recipient is never going to see the Gmail ID or the Hotmail ID or the Yahoo ID you have sent mail from.
Okay.
So, in a nutshell, all the email IDs are conversing into your control box, whichever email ID you choose, and then you can reply to it from a single email ID.
That's a deal that's going on right now. It starts off at $59.99, and that's Mutant Mail. Lifetime deal. That means you pay once and use it forever. And these are the deal terms that this includes. So it allows 10 domains, 50 email IDs, 50 recipient email IDs, option to disable catch all, priority mail queue, 5 gigabytes of monthly bandwidth. So there's no storage involved in this since Abhishek says it just transfers the email. So there's no storage involved. View failed
Correct.
deliveries and configured rules. So that's the deal as of now. Again, the link will be in description in case you guys want to check it out.
So, this is what Mutant Mail looks like from the inside, and this is where all your email IDs will be. So, at the moment, you can see I have 172 email IDs active,
Okay.
and these are the destination emails. And here you can see I have what, close to 12 or 14 domains at the moment. So I will give you an exact demo how the settings look like, how things you are going to copy paste,
Okay.
and how the domain gets attached.
All
So
right.
you
Cool.
start by clicking on this add custom domain, and I have this Cloudflare setting here. You just and I have a domain I used for long back. So let's use that domain. I don't use it anymore
Don't worry.
for
Okay, cool.
this this particular setting. So
Oh,
as soon as you click it, it will ask for your domain verification, because without verification, of course, you cannot proceed. So it will tell you that you need to add a txt record, and these are the values that you need to use. Key,
okay,
this will be key and this will be value. So this
right.
particular case, we will just go and we will go to text, and we will use the host value, which is at the rate, and then we will use the value which is mute, and we saved it. Since it is Cloudflare, it should happen pretty fast.
Right.
uh,
Now, really quickly, I just want to say this. Right now, he's making the example on Cloudflare, and it also works if you have Namecheap, Hostinger, or whatever shared account, cPanel. You
yep,
just have to jump into the DNS zone settings. In this case, he's using
correct,
Cloudflare for the DNS, but same
correct.
steps.
Exact same steps. So when I clicked OK, it gave a message that the domain ownership was confirmed. It was able to verify those records on the DNS settings. So now it gave a couple more records to copy and paste, and these are needed. For example, MX records are needed because it the mutant mail needs to receive emails for your domains on your behalf. It has
Correct.
to act as a recipient as well, and rest all the records are for sending through that particular domain, so that your what you call your emails don't land in spam, because
Correct.
the most important factor is your domain's reputation. And if your domain is new, that is the reason sometimes your emails go to spam. It is one of the most important reasons, if your domain is not having enough reputation.
Correct. So these
So
settings basically are meant to verify that you are actually using this system, in this case, Mutant Mail, to send out emails, and it knows
correct.
you are the actual owner and you have the settings for it. That's what this is for.
Yes, yes, that's about it. So let's copy one by one. uh, okay, so
Now each one is going to tell you what type of record. So in this case, he's adding the record for MX, and then you have the
correct,
settings for each one.
correct. So basically, the host becomes your host here, and it basically it is a key value pair, and this one determines the type. So I'm just going to use it. So in this particular case, it gave me gateway.cliffmail.com, and we just save it. Then we go to next one.
You have to set the priority for it. Wait, don't you jump. So you have to set the priority. Yeah, 10 or whatever you want to add.
Uh, yeah, that's okay.
There we go.
So txt.
On the SPF, you're going to notice that there's no IP, there's no other domains
Mhm.
set there. But if there were previous email providers that you were using, it's going to add it there
Mhm.
between.
Yes, yes. So you do need to put include here if you intend to use those domains for sending from some different. Let's say you are using a hosting from DreamHost, for example.
Right.
So DreamHost will be having couple of email PTR. Those are called PTR records, where they will be sending mails from. So you do need to modify this, and these all things that I'm talking about are in our knowledge base. We have a
Correct.
knowledge base on the site, and you can check that out. So basically, what it will look like is something like include, and then whatever the ptr.com record, those hosting providers will be giving you. So that way, you can send emails on your domain through them as well as from us. So
Correct.
both of them will be authorized. So in this
Exactly.
particular case, I'm saying only using the demo domain. So I'm just going to copy paste whatever value it is going to give me.
Correct. Let's see. The email. The DMARC.
So basically, there are three kinds of records that are very important for a domain email to land in not in spam, and those are SPF. Uh, those are SPF, DMARC, and
DKIM.
DKIM.
Yeah, DKIM. Yeah, the three in combination will hope that your emails when you send out don't land in spam.
Yeah, but yeah, with emails, there is almost never a guarantee that your
Yeah.
emails will never land in spam.
Okay, so it
Okay,
means
so
we are set up.
yeah, so yeah, this needs to be done. So the MX record needs to be at the lowest priority actually,
Okay.
because whichever record on the MX side will be having lowest priority, that mail server will always be getting the emails. So
Okay.
let's check the record here. So the record was verified successfully. And you see the domain has been added here and it has a green check mark next to it. So in this particular case, it added. Now you see it has a catch-all enabled. Suppose I don't want to create email IDs manually for happymystery.com. Okay, very simple. And so I can enable the catch-all. And George, why don't you try sending me an email to
Okay.
something like support at the rate happymystery.com? Yeah. So you sent just writing test mail, right?
Yeah, that's what
To
I sent
support at the, yeah.
from
And
my
you
Gmail.
sent it from your Gmail ID.
Correct.
And this is my Gmail ID. So I have received it here. And when I will respond to it, let's say email reply. Okay. So you will get the mail from this particular email ID. As simple as that. So
And you replied from your
my
Gmail.
Gmail ID.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
that's cool. Okay, really quickly, just want to show that I received the response from Abhishek.
Mhm.
There we go. That's a response. And this is the email from the one I've sent.
Okay.
So even though he
Correct.
didn't create support at happymisty.com, he received it as a catch-all. And
Mhm.
it got replied from that domain actually, and that alias of email, even though it's not even created. So
Yeah.
that's, I
And
mean,
you
that's
and you
interesting.
and you can try looking for my Gmail ID in that mail. You will nowhere find it. Since that created an email ID, it will increase my counter by one. Alias counter or email ID
Okay.
counter. So it was 172, it increased to 173. And now I have that email ID created. It creates on the first email it receives. And of course, I can deactivate it, I can delete it, and I can do a lot of things if I
Okay.
don't want to use this email ID anymore. So every time my email ID is deleted or put on inactive mode, emails are blocked. So
Okay.
basically, they will not be forwarded. Difference between inactive and delete is if you do inactive, it will silently discard it, and if you delete it, there will be a strong mail. There will be a what you call uh, the response will be sent to the sending email provider that this email ID does not exist. So it's basically your choice if you want to discard that mail completely or you just want to pause it on a temporary basis. Now coming to the part how the mapping was done between the email ID and the domain. So it is in your inbox. So you see I have two email IDs here, and you can add a third one. I will put just a Gmail ID or a Yahoo ID or whatever email ID I want to use, and I will click on add recipient. What it will do is it will send a unique link to your email ID, whichever you want to use, to ensure that you own it. And you need to click on that link, and that email ID will have verified check mark next to it
So that's
once
how you
the
got it on
process is
your
done.
Gmail. That's how you got
Correct.
it on
So
Gmail. Oh,
correct. Now
right.
look at the fun part. Since I have two email IDs here, I can show you.
Mhm.
Uh, Instead of this, it is it. I can just click on this, and now it will send to my other email ID and not that email ID. I can
Got
just
it.
swap it here.
But
And if I want to receive it on both email IDs, that also I can do.
okay. But by default was sending it to which ID though?
Correct. It will send it to default email ID uh,
Which
because
was
this is the
that makes
default.
sense.
So
And
that
if you will
I think
go,
that's pretty interesting how that's possible, because basically you can go ahead and set up your domains on Mutant Mail, set up
Mhm,
the inbox where you're going to receive these emails, and you
mhm.
don't have to go to Mutant Mail every single time. You're going to do everything
Yeah,
from the email that you set, your inbox, your Gmail,
yeah,
your Hotmail, your Outlook, whatever you're going to use. So set
yeah.
and forget.
Ex- Let me just go through the settings once.
Okay.
So this one will give you the estimate of how much limit you have crossed. So at the moment, I have applied myself 20 GB of limit, and
Okay.
once you are close to that limit, once you have used 90%, mutant mail will trigger a alert stating that you are about to go over your limit, and every month we reset it on the first calendar day. The
Okay.
reason is we cannot have a rolling window because we don't log how much data you have sent on which day. We just increment a counter to maintain the bandwidth. That's all.
Right. Abhishek, just to let users know, basically,
Mhm.
an email with text, it's not even 1 MB, right?
Yeah, just to look at this, I have received what, uh, 2000 emails approximately, and it has costed me 22 MB of data.
Right. So just to people get an idea of how much usage on bandwidth is going to get. Basically, it's nothing, because
Yeah.
on your deal that you have live, you have 5 GB of monthly bandwidth, which is
Yes.
more than enough.
Yes. And if you want to send attachments, we do allow that. The limit on them is actually 10 MB,
Okay.
because we wanted to ensure that the system doesn't get misused. And in most of the cases, the system is built for replying fast. And in that particular case, there is hardly a situation where you have to send a attachment which is more than of 10 MB of size. But of course, if we get a demand for that kind of thing, we can think about upgrading the limit there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where you set the default email actually, where you asked what is the default email, and you can switch between whichever email ID to be default. And of course, if you want privacy, we have PGP and GPG encryptions that you can implement on each and every email. But then, of course, you will have to go to some kind of service to decrypt all of them, because even your Gmail won't be able to read the data. And you want two-factor authentication and all those settings are also there, because now these things have become standard. And we do have API in progress. The API system works, but we have not documented it completely at the moment. So rules are pretty basic at the moment. You can specify the condition for sender, subject, and alias, and of course, simple rule formats there.
Right.
And based on that, you can choose to have your PGP encryption off or block the email or couple
Right.
of
So, for
things.
example, a really simple use case: if
Mm-hmm.
the subject contains
Mm-hmm.
sell, promotion,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whatever, you know that you don't want any of those emails, well,
Uh-huh.
you can send it
Yeah.
to the blocked mail. That could be a simple
Yeah.
condition that you can create.
Correct. Or you can just, yeah, simply block it.
Yep. So if the subject contains any of those words, can you add or and
Yes.
on the condition? So, for example, if we could say promotion on the value and
Yes.
add another
Yes.
value.
You can. So you just do insert. So these are all, or uh, what else did you say?
For this, for example,
Sales.
it could be a combination or
Yes.
any of those. Okay, so that's
So
or.
bas- yeah, so this is or, and you click on the add condition, and this will become and.
Okay. Yeah. So the way that works is that right now the way he has it set it up is that if the subject contains promotion or sale, it's going
Mhm.
to send it to the block email. Okay.
Yes.
Another type of condition would be and. What does that mean?
Mhm.
So if the subject contains promotion and you can add that there, another subject,
Yes.
um, sell, yeah,
Yes.
insert. So in this case, it has to be the combination of both to trigger the next action, which is block the email. So there's two
Yes.
types. There's or and in conditional logic. If you
Yeah,
didn't
and
watch the live stream, if you joined halfway, do check it from the beginning so you see all the setup process, all the settings, what it does, and the benefits of it. There you
and
go.
thank you, George, for giving the platform.
I don't know. Thank you for joining and accepting the invite. All right, guys. Thank you all. This is SaaS Master, and I'll see you guys later.
See you guys. Bye, guys.